We got 9 players here that we are going to talk about. Players that I'm going to buy some stock into. Let's be honest here. Everyone's got their favorites. Last year, one of the guys that I bought the most stock into was Bo Nix, and that turned out pretty good. Players that I missed and lost some money on investing stock into was a guy like Drew Aller. And I'm not buying any more stock, even if it's low, not buying the dip here, because I'm off of Drew Aller, man. I just don't even get me started on a Penn State rant right now. I don't have any Penn State players on my list. I think they're going to be this same exact team. And the thing, you know what, I am going into it. The thing with Penn State, and we'll talk about it a lot more when I get to the Big Ten week and we do the Big Ten tier list and we do all those different things, is even though they might be the same exact team, they will get a playoff opportunity and be like a first round out or maybe win a game, and they'll be seen as progress, even though they were the exact same thing. When their goal is to win the Big Ten and potentially be a national title contender, because the circumstances around them have changed and allowed for them to be in the playoff, they're going to think it's progress, when in reality, they've just continued to stall out and be at the same spot that they were at. So maybe it benefits them, but I think really analyzing Penn State for what they are and seeing if they've moved the needle offensively, that will be the dictator of like whether or not they're actually moving forward as a program. But there's a little intro. If you haven't noticed, we are in a new setup. I changed my desk setup. I kind of like the wall to the back of me. We'll see how much I like it. I don't want to hold the microphone, kind of gets in the way for whatever reason. If you've ever recorded videos, you can understand that. But I wanted to get a shot up. I wanted to get my stock in now. We are in April. The transfer portal window has opened, and I want to invest stock now. Before I can't do it, we may do a part 2 of this in the fall. I'm not really taking into account the spring practices or the spring games. You could say it when I talk about this first player, oh my gosh, he's overreacted to a spring game. No, I have some more context reasoning behind these guys. Some are just vibes based. The other ones are just, I've liked them since high school. And then the other ones, I think they're going to ball out. And for example, the vibes one, and I think they're going to ball out, is going to be Jalen Milroe. I think Jalen Milroe is primed for a Heisman run. As we've gone deeper into the offseason, I've bought more and more Jalen Milroe stock. I think that this dude is going to be in New York. I think he's going to take that leap. I think he has the highest ceiling in anyone in this upcoming draft class, more than Shedeur, more than, I would say, Quinn Ewers, just because the rushing ability is so top tier. The arm strength is so incredible. He ranges, though. The issue with him is his floor is so low. We are talking about the difference between a Malik Willis to a Lamar Jackson type of prospect here. The range is very wide right there. But he has all the tools and capabilities and the pieces around him. The big thing here, and I think what's going to be so critical for Milroe, is just the acceptance that he is going to be the starting quarterback. Now, it's not a bad thing to have competition, but let's be honest here, with the transition to Nick Saban, you need some continuity with leadership. And Jalen Milroe, from all accounts, from guys like Terrion Arnold and like Kool-Aid McKinstry, from their draft process, they have pointed to Milroe as the guy that has been the leader for this team. And when you lose a guy like Nick Saban, you need some continuity. And so hopefully they after spring, you get that little like teaser of, oh, maybe this guy is pushing him a little bit. Competition's a good thing. It's the same thing when they were talking about Arch Manning and Quinn Ewers. There's a quarterback competition, but when it's all said and done by summertime, you announce Milroe as your starting quarterback, and you know this is the guy that we're rocking with, because you don't want to have a South Florida situation where you're just starting guys just to start them. But to be fair, I think that's an anomaly of a situation. It's an anomaly to probably Nick Saban's career, if we're being honest here. Another guy that I am buying some stock into now, and I honestly suggest other people should, is potentially even Oklahoma as a whole, but it's really going to be tested with Jackson Arnold. I think this 5-star kid coming out of high school has all the talent out of the world. And I think Dylan Gabriel, another guy that I want to talk about, did not leave because he thought he would go get a better opportunity in Oregon, or he thought that he didn't want to have the competition of Jackson Arnold. I think he just honestly accepted that this is the guy that they're going to move forward with in the future, and for good reason. Now, not to buy too much stock into what's going on in spring, but there's good rumblings coming out of Oklahoma, that this is the guy that they want to go with in the future, and they made the good decision to do so. He has a lot of zip on the ball. I think that this is someone that not going to have like a Heisman type of season this upcoming year, but is going to prove why they went with him for the starting quarterback and prove that they are primed for a playoff run the following season. I just don't think the schedule allows for them to have enough breathing room to potentially sneak in as a at-large bid. But Brent Venables, after a pretty rough first year, slowly turned around last year, got the win against Red River, the Red River rivalry, not like against them. I didn't mean to mess that up, but I think they are trajectory-wise moving in a positive direction, and that's what you're looking for when you're starting a new quarterback who's going to be very young, is going to be battle-tested by the next season, so that you're going to get all the things that you're looking for. So I'm all in with Jackson Arnold. We are about like 6 minutes or so in, so we got a speed run. Like I said, we got 9 things going on here. Cedric Baxter is a guy that I suggest everyone go buy stock if you can. This is a dude that we are talking about is going to be a star at the collegiate level. I think, honestly, this upcoming year in 2025 or 2024 through 2025 has so many great running backs. I mean, Ohio State has probably the best duo in the league. I think that Cedric Baxter or CJ Baxter, whatever you want to call him, is going to be a superstar here. I get it. They just lost Jonathan Brooks. Completely understand. But Texas is just a pipeline for fantastic running backs. If you want a sure thing, I think it's going to be him. I believe Killian Robinson is still with the team. I could be wrong in that fact, but I think that Baxter, coming out of high school, was a superstar. Him and Ruben Owens were going back and forth, I think, for the number 1 running back for their classes. And I like Ruben Owens a lot, but I think he was a lot more raw of a prospect coming out. I felt like Cedric Baxter was the most sure thing to come out of high school since, I don't know, I don't want to make a bold claim there, but I think the dude's going to be a superstar. I don't have a lot of like hard evidence that he's going to be a superstar. It's just, I think that everything is pointing towards the direction that Texas offense just produces great running backs. He's super talented. When he had the opportunity, he really performed. So I think there's some real opportunity for him to be a superstar in college football. The next guy, to flip it to the other side, by the way, just a quick side note, I know I'm wearing an A&M shirt and I just hyped up a Texas player. I can be pretty, I would say, non-biased in the fact. I still hate Texas, though. To talk about an A&M player, though, Connor Wigman, before the injury, if he can just stay on the field with Colin Klein as his offensive coordinator, I understand Colin Klein, people are going to think, well, you have the injuries with Connor Wigman. He's going to just want to run QB power. I think the big misunderstanding with Colin Klein as an offensive coordinator is truly that he has been so good at being able to get the superstars the ball in their hands, which is a very underrated fact, something that not a lot of offensive coordinators can do at a high level. Let's just be honest in the fact that, like, Bobby Petrino and Jimbo Fisher last year couldn't do that with a super talented roster, be able to get the ball into guys' hands. He's going to be able to find the playmakers, Colin Klein is who I'm talking about, and be able to let them make plays. And A&M has those guys, Ruben Owens, Moose Muhammad, someone who I'll talk about here in a moment, and Connor Wigman is a guy that can be able to disperse the ball at a high level if he's able to stay healthy. Just because we're assuming that he's going to be able to run QB power, which I don't really think is going to be what the offense is going to look like, I would buy stock in him if he's able to stay healthy. This is a high-level quarterback that could surprise some people with this A&M team, as well as Moose Muhammad. Moose Muhammad is a wide receiver that has been able to stay with this A&M team for a very long time. Every single time he's got an opportunity, he has balled out. He has made a highlight play every single time he's been able to get on the field. Jimbo Fisher and him just did not see eye to eye. We are talking about things as simple as Jimbo Fisher took him off, I think, a game roster because he wanted to wear sleeves. In the first game that Jimbo Fisher was gone, fired, out of there, he wears sleeves, double sleeves, and balls out. I think Moose Muhammad, the fact that he stayed with this A&M roster now, fingers are crossed, you never know with the spring transfer window. This dude is a star waiting to happen, especially for a team that is desperate to look for a wide receiver one after the guy that I'm about to talk about left, Evan Stewart. One of the best players in college football that just did not get a great opportunity at Texas A&M. After that 2022 class was a whole debacle, Jimbo Fisher gets paid out for $70 million. Evan Stewart made plays. I mean, just go look at the Alabama tape. Whenever A&M was pushing Alabama to the brink, Evan Stewart was the catalyst on that offense that kept making plays. Just overall was incredible. He goes to Oregon now, which with Dylan Gabriel and that offense with Tez Johnson, it's just everything you could ask for a potential Blittenkoff type of season for Evan Stewart. No way around it. He is one of the best players in college football. You don't need to overlook it. Speaking of players that I think on Oregon could be critical X factors, I'm talking about Jabbar Muhammad from Washington, who was just giving Troy Franklin and Tez Johnson fits just one season ago. I mean, this dude, every single time you watched Washington's defense, it was the highlight of can they hold up? And he just made play after play after play. And originally he was intended to go to Texas. That was what everyone was pointing towards whenever they were going to go, like wherever the Washington players were going to end up leaving. A lot of them hopped on the transfer portal. They're going to be really bad this year. But everyone pointed that he was going to go to Texas. He goes to Oregon, which is just a fantastic pairing, which I think also a lot of people are forgetting. Oregon's offense has been incredible, but that defense has just been waiting and been building. And I think a lot of people forget Dan Lanning was a defensive guy coming from Georgia. This team needs some real X factors on the defense, and they could push themselves into a Big Ten, even national title type of scene next season if they are able to get all the pieces together. And Jabbar Muhammad, I think, is going to be a critical X factor in that. Down to the last two guys, and some of them are my favorites right here, and I'll get to the last one. But the first one I want to talk about, and like another defensive piece, is the edge from UTSA. Trey Moore, he goes to Texas. This was a dude that I wanted to be a Texas A&M Aggie so bad. And I got to give Texas credit for being able to pull him in. Getting edge defenders like that is so critical for a defense that is going to lose so many interior pieces. Now, I understand the correlation really isn't there, but you need defensive talent. You have Anthony Hill. The secondary is going to be developing. Getting a guy like Trey Moore who has experience, and UTSA has been a really good team. They produce really good players. They've been able to produce NFL guys. And I think him hopping in the portal and then being able to snag him, potentially add some more pieces through the transfer window. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be able to fix any issues, but realistically, I think the only issue that Texas is going to have is reloading that defensive line and the interiors. And I think they've recruited at a level that they're going to be able to do that. Adding a veteran guy like Trey Moore, who has a ton of upside, he could potentially be a first-round pick. I'm not kidding. His stock could skyrocket when he has the shine at Texas. I think he's going to be incredible. I got to give them credit. They are going to be a scary team in general. And the last guy that I think is going to be someone I'm investing my stock into is Cameron Ward. This is personal for me. I have seen it firsthand with Cameron Ward when he was at Incarnate Ward that he torched one of my favorite teams. Just saw it live. The dude is always going to be someone I'm rooting for. I was hyping him up with Washington State. He leaves. I thought he was going to go to the NFL draft. And honestly, he has all the tools to be an NFL quarterback, but I think it's just a loaded class. When we're talking about the 2025 NFL draft class, this is a dude that could easily skyrocket himself into that fringe first-round talent just because of how weak the class is, and someone will take the opportunity to try to give him a shot. He has all the tools to do so. He has the mobility. He has a great arm. And I think when he goes to Miami, and I'm not ready to be there yet, but I think I might be falling for the bait with Miami. I'm starting to really convince myself that they would be facing Florida State for the ACC title. I can't remember if they're in a division type of conference. To be fair, the ACC is going to collapse sooner or later. But like I think Miami, between Miami, Clemson, and I would say NC State, I'm starting to lean Miami, and I don't know why. I think a team that is just so talented, have an adult in the room could be so critical for a team that needs it, and I think Cameron Ward is that guy. That's it, folks. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Let me know what players you are investing in for the college football season, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch this channel. I'm trying to grow it, so do as you please. If you want to leave a like, comment, rate, subscribe, I don't know what to do, but like, thank you for even taking the moment to watch this video, and have a fantastic day.